Hello, dear friends. I welcome you all to today's session. Dear children, yesterday we began our story, The Friendly Elves. Do you remember what all we read? Okay, there was a cobbler. He was old, weak. He could not make more than one pair of shoes, right? Then one day, what happened? Yes, there was a surprise for him. And what was that surprise? The surprise was that there were beautiful shoes made for him, right? And then he had sold them in the market, got a good price, and he smiled, and with a smile on his lips, he retired for the night. What do you mean by that? He slept. Now, children, we were not aware that who had made those wonderful shoes for him, right? So, today, let us find out who was that nice soul that helped the cobbler. So, are you ready? Okay, time to continue our story. Let us see. The next morning, when the cobbler opened his workshop, he was again pleasantly surprised to see that 4 exquisite pairs of shoes were ready. He was extremely thrilled. That day too, he earned double the price of shoes. Soon the news of his expert craftsmanship spread all around, and everybody started appreciating his finely made shoes. People from the neighboring villages came to buy the shoes made by the cobbler. Now, children, let us understand this paragraph first. So, the next morning, which morning, dear children? Yes, the morning after the cobbler had got good money for his first pairs of shoes which he had not made, right? So, the next morning, when the cobbler opened his workshop, he was again pleasantly surprised. Pleasantly means happily. Why was he getting surprised? Because he saw that 4 exquisite pairs of shoes were ready. Exquisite means, dear children, exquisite means extremely beautiful. Alright. So he was extremely thrilled. He has to be, because when you don't do the work and still the work is done, and that too better, in fact in the best way, then one genuinely gets thrilled. Extremely means very much, and thrilled means very much excited and surprised. So that day again he earned the double price of shoes. Now soon what happened? The news of his expert craftsmanship. Craftsmanship means skill of hand, right? So his skill had spread all around and everybody started appreciating. Appreciating means praising. He started getting praises for his shoes. And then people from the neighboring villages, the surrounding villages, they also start coming to buy the shoes made by the cobbler. So that was really wonderful happening in the story, isn't it? The cobbler was now getting recognition. People were starting praising him. He was becoming a known person. So all wonderful things were happening in his life. Now let us see, does it continue or what happens next? Now, the cobbler started earning a lot of money and he always had enough to buy new leather. You remember? in the starting of the story, he did not have money, right, to buy the leather. So now he had good money to buy the leather. One day his wife said, I wonder who is the kind soul helping us in this manner. Now see children, this is a question mark, so we should read it as a question. I wonder who is the kind soul helping us in this manner. We must find out the secret of these beautiful shoes. The cobbler agreed. Yes, we must find out and thank the person who has helped us so much. That night, the cobbler and his wife decided to keep a watch on the workshop. So children, just like any other person, his wife felt a bit of inquisitive. Inquisitive means when you want to know something. So she wanted to know that who was helping them, because someone was really helping them. The cobbler had not been making those shoes. So she decided that she should find out the secret of the beautiful shoes. The cobbler also felt, okay, fine, let us find out. And so that night, they both decided to keep a watch. Keep a watch means to keep an eye on the workshop, to watch it, that who comes and who does it all. So what happens? It was midnight, and as the clock struck 12, there was a miracle. 12 owls popped out from the clock and started working furiously on the cut leather pieces. These owls were poorly dressed and were bare feet, but they made lovely shoes with their tiny fingers. They completed all the shoes in no time, and when their work was complete, they went back into the clock. So, we found out that at midnight means when it is 12. When the clock struck 12, there was a miracle. Miracle means magic. And what happened? 12 owls popped out. Let us see in the picture. It will be more clear. Yes, there are the elves, the short-eyed people. So they popped out. Popped out means jumped out of the clock. And what did they do? They started working furiously. Furiously means with full of energy, right? Unstoppable. So they started working on the cut leather pieces and they made the lovely shoes. Now they had very tiny fingers, but still they worked the whole night, and when their work was complete, they went back into the clock. Now we can see in the picture, dear children, that their clothes are torn. They themselves are poorly dressed up, right? But they worked at the shoes so beautifully and made such beautiful, exquisite shoes for the cobbler. Yes, that is no less than a miracle, isn't it? Now, poor little elves, how hard they were working for us. How hard they are working for us. But they themselves are dressed in rags. How kind of these blessed souls, said the cobbler's wife tearfully. So why tearfully? Because she was emotional. She was in her heart so thankful for them. That these elves, they are themselves dressed in rags. Rags means torn clothes. But still they worked for the cobbler. So they were really kind, isn't it? So they were kind and they were blessed souls. Blessed souls means, blessed souls, children, are those souls who work good to others. Then they get blessings of the God. Alright. Now let us see, after knowing this secret, what happens in the life of the cobbler. The cobbler, did he decide to thank those elves? Or did he continue to take that favor silently? What did the elves do next for the cobbler and his wife? Let us find out and read ahead. Yes, replied a choked cobbler. We must do something for these friends of ours. How on earth can we repay these kind friends? So, the cobbler also decided that he should do something to repay, means to return that gesture, right? You cannot pay a kind gesture in money, but you can do something good for someone who is kind to you. And he was a choked cobbler. Why was he getting choked, dear children? Choked means when you are unable to speak. You're so emotional, your throat is filled with tears that you're not able to speak. And it does happen when we are very, very emotional. We do get choked, isn't it? Now let us see what happens next. I have an idea, exclaimed his wife. Come with me. That night and the next day, the cobbler and his wife worked earnestly, and by the night they had made 12 beautiful dresses and matching pairs of shoes, one for each of the friendly elf. They put the dresses and shoes beside the leather in the workshop because they knew that these elves will definitely come out. So, what did the cobbler and his wife do? They worked and they made 12 dresses with matching pairs of shoes, one for each elf. And then they just put the dresses and the shoes and went away. So that night, at the stroke of 12, the elves came out from the clock. They were overjoyed to see those lovely dresses and shoes. They dressed up hurriedly and started dancing with joy. They sang merrily. So what happened, dear children? When it was 12, again the elves came out and they were overjoyed, means very, very happy to see those lovely dresses. So they quickly wore those dresses and they started singing merrily. Merrily means happily. Let us see what did they sing. There is no need for any guesses who gifted us these dresses. The cobbler is a kind friend who loves us to no end. Because they're singing. So let us, we also sing. Right? Shall we sing again? Why not? There is no need for any guesses who gifted us these dresses. The cobbler is a kind friend who loves us to no end. Wow! Wonderful! At last, the 12 elves disappeared singing gaily. Gaily means happily. The cobbler and his wife lived happily thereafter. So, the high five means the moral of this lesson. See, children, we learn a lot of things from the story, from any story. And in this story, the most important things that we should learn is one good deed deserves another. Means one good action definitely calls for another good action. If someone does good to us, we should surely, definitely, undoubtedly do the good for them. And in fact, we should be good to everyone. Right? Because even if no one is watching us, God is always watching us. And God always does good to you if you are good to others. So how was the story, dear children? I'm sure you liked it. So again, how about revising certain grammar and learning some new words? Let us see, dear children. Okay, ready. What can be the antonym of ready? Yes, it will be unready. Okay. Ready or not ready is called unready. We can add the prefix un and make the antonym. Alright. Similarly, let us say appreciating. What can be the antonym? Synonym is praising, when you praise someone. And antonym is criticizing, when you're speaking bad about someone. Alright. Let us take some other words. Okay, what can be the antonym of buy? You're right. Sell. S-E-double-L. Alright. Similarly, the antonym of kind. It is cruel. Cruel. Okay. Let us say one more antonym. Shall we find out? Fine. What is this? Let us say synonym. Bare. What can be the synonym of bare? It is uncovered. Tiny. What is tiny, dear children? Tiny means very small. So the antonym will be, antonym of tiny is huge. Huge. Okay. Let us see certain verbs from the paragraph. Alright. We can have the first verb in past tense, opened. Then the verb is earned. Okay. Spread. It is present tense. Started. This is past form. Similarly, had is the past form of has or have. Alright. Now, can you tell me an interrogative sentence from this text? Find it out. You should remember, interrogative sentence means that should end with a question mark. Yes, it's right there before you. I wonder who is the kind soul helping us in this manner. This is an interrogative sentence. Then let us focus on the use of comma. That night, the cobbler and his wife. See, there is a comma over here because we want to separate the time with the rest of the sentence. Very good. Now, let us see certain exclamatory sentences. Okay. See, poor little elves. This is an exclamatory sign. Similarly, how kind of these blessed souls. This is also an exclamatory line. Okay. So, when we have a strong feeling, those sentences are called exclamatory sentences. You remember yesterday also we revised sentences and punctuation from the story. So, in the same way, children, always when you read, try and work out on your vocabulary and punctuation and other grammar things. Alright? Similarly, in this text, there is an exclamatory sentence. Can you find out? Is there any exclamatory? Yes, I have an idea. This is an exclamatory sentence. How about this? How on earth can we repay these kind friends? What kind of sentence is this, dear children? This is an interrogative sentence, alright? Because it is a question. Okay? Now, let us find out the synonym of the word beautiful. What will be the synonym of beautiful? Lovely. Very good. And antonym will be ugly. Okay? Witches are ugly. Right? Can you make some other sentence with this word beautiful? Okay, my mother is beautiful. We have beautiful dolls. Right? So we can practice sentence making as well. Now children, just tell what is the long awaited miracle that the cobbler was waiting for. What was that miracle, dear children? Yes, you're right. The miracle was that the shoes were made beautifully by the elves. That was a miracle. And then, why did the cobbler and his wife make dresses and shoes? Why did they make? For whom were they making? You're right again. They were making for the elves. And why? Because they wanted to repay the kindness shown by the elves. Okay, what was the kindness? The kindness, the kind action was that elves had made such beautiful shoes for the cobbler. Did the cobbler ask for the shoes? No. So it was actually a selfless kind of action. Okay. When without asking you do something good to some other person. This is actually called kindness. Alright? So now With this, we come to the end of this story. I'm sure you also must have enjoyed the reading session, the vocabulary practice, the grammar practice, and the most important thing, such a beautiful story. So, see you in the next session with the next thing. Till then, goodbye and take care.